language interpreter is Paul Mathenge, and this is GBS News at 9 coming to you live from Kenya's capital, Nairobi. We have a lot lined up for you, but first, here are the highlights. Of subsidized fertilizer reads Riot Act as he vows.
We have times at which kids should not travel beyond 6 o'clock in the evening, before 6 a.m. in the morning.
Gone too soon. Ministry of Education commits to ensuring student safety as country mourns 11 Kenyatta University students perished by road accident. It's all-out war. Kindiki launched heavy artillery to be launched in the war against terror in Operation Maliza Uhalifu.
I think this is the basis of modernized coaching.
Kenya Football Federation concludes CAF Level D coaching course on players come coaches. President William Ruto has assured Kenyans that the government will take subsidized fertilizer available before the next planting season. He allayed fears of a crisis in the agricultural sector due to the high demand for subsidized fertilizer ahead of planting season beginning later this month. Speaking at Masinda Muriro University during the Kakamega County International Investment Conference, President Ruto said everything was being done to ensure fertilizer is available to farmers ahead of the next planting season. Meanwhile, the president pledged to turn around the sugar industry, which is saddled with the corruption and poor management. The president assured residents of Western Kenya that proper mechanisms will be put in place to reform the sugar industry. On devolution, he said that the level of governance has transformed the lives of millions of Kenyans, especially in rural areas. He regretted that Africa is importing food worth billions of dollars, yet these can be produced locally. Moving on, the Ministry of Education is determined to take possible measures to curb the rise of road accidents involving learning institutions. Speaking at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development on Wednesday, the Basic Secretary, Principal Secretary for Education, Dr. Belio Kipsang, condoled to the friends and families of the 11th Kenyatta University students who lost their lives on Monday night in a tragic road accident along the Nairobi-Mombasa highway. Here is more on the same. In cities across the country, the streets have become battlegrounds where every journey comes with the risk of tragedy. Law enforcement agencies are grappling with the surge in road accidents, working tirelessly to piece together the events leading to each tragedy. According to data from the National Transport and Safety Authority, 649 people lost their lives in road accidents in Kenya from the 1st of January to the 20th of February 2024. The most recent tragedy claimed the lives of 11 Kenyatta University students. The Ministry of Education, through its Principal Secretary, Dr. Belio Kipsang, has assured to do all it takes to ensure road safety for all learning institutions. Speaking on the recent accidents involving learning institutions during the week, the first case involved Kapsabet Boys High School and claimed the lives of one student and a teacher. In the most recent tragedy of Kenyatta University students, the Principal Secretary for Basic Education, Belio Kipsang, reiterated the ministry's commitment to working together to ensure road safety for learning institutions and making sure the safety regulations for learning institutions are adhered to.
We have a transport policy. We have times at which kids should not travel beyond 6 o'clock in the evening, before 6 o'clock, 6 a.m. in the morning. So we have a proper guideline that we have given. We checked on the issue of Kapsabet boys, and our teams, the investigations are ongoing so that we can appreciate whether there was any challenge that went beyond just the accident. And once the report comes out, then we shall be able to know how to deal with it. But we still continue to ensure that the buses that are used by our children are, one, roadworthy, they are properly built.
There has been a steady increase in road carnage in the country since the beginning of the year, with most accidents blamed on reckless driving. Statistics released by the National Transport and Safety Authority in February this year painted a grim picture of the situation on the Kenyan roads. As we commemorate the International Day of Happiness, we are confronted with a sobering reality amidst the pursuit of joy. A shadow of depression looms large over Kenya and beyond. Despite the global celebration of happiness, mental health remains a pressing issue, with alarming statistics revealing a profound lack of adequate care and support. Susan Nganga with the full report.
Each year, on March 20th, the global community observes the International Day of Happiness, aiming to promote kindness and spread joy worldwide. However, amidst this celebration, a shadow of depression looms over Kenya and many parts of the world. According to the World Health Organization, Kenya ranks fifth among African nations in terms of the prevalence of depression. It's estimated that 1 in every 4 Kenyans may be grappling with mental health issues ranging from mild to severe conditions. Regrettably, Kenya is one of the few countries that do not allocate a separate budget for mental health. The current expenditure on mental health is insufficient, as it accounts for only 0.01% of the total government expenditure on health, hence a severe shortage of adequate facilities, forcing all patients in need of mental health care to rely on Mathare National Hospital, the sole national institution specializing in mental health. The pervasive culture of denial and silence surrounding mental health only exacerbates the situation. Many still associate mental illness with supernatural causes, leading individuals to seek assistance from traditional healers. All throughout Africa, individuals suffering from mental illness are often stigmatized as mad, perpetuating ignorance and hindering proper care and understanding. Depression, characterized by persistent sadness and loss of interest in previously enjoyable activities, is a prevalent mental health issue in Kenya. Anxiety and substance abuse are also commonly diagnosed. Susan Nganga, GBS News.
The United States Agency for International Development has donated 171,000 packs of sanitary towels to help keep young girls in school. Speaking during the handover ceremony on Wednesday, the Education Principal Secretary, Dr. Belio Kipsang, said due to the program there is evidence that girls now enjoy equal access to quality and relevant education as boys, irrespective of their socio-economic status. Here are the details. In its effort to promote gender equality, improve health and hygiene, support education, empower girls, and build stronger, more resilient communities, the United States Agency for International Development donated 171,000 packs of sanitary towels to help keep young girls in school. The retention of school-going girls has now been assured by the donation of sanitary towels by the USAID. Let's take a look.
Thank you.
Speaking during the handover ceremony at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development on Wednesday, Principal Secretary for Basic Education, Dr. Belio Kipsang, said the provision of sanitary towels to many needy girls has reduced the dropout rates, leading to girls completing their education, and has also significantly improved their performance.
So that this message can be sent down, make sure that we have a real good structure that ensures that girl who needs the sanitary towel in our informal settlements, in far-to-reach, in hard-to-reach places, in the real ASAL areas, we shall, as I've said, deliver as one in government and ensure that this reaches the most needy girl who requires. And I've said this will take care of 500,000 girls.
U.S. Embassy Consular General Deborah Miller noted that the United States, through USAID, provides more than $5 million every year to support menstrual health across the country. She lauded the government for eliminating taxes on essential products, funding school programs, and engaging communities, saying it sends a powerful message about the value of girls' education.
Continuing to work with the ministry to identify where the priorities are, and we're hoping to continue these programs, again, in joint cooperation with the ministry.
The United States Agency for International Development donated 4,152 bales of sanitary towels to the Ministry of Education, which were distributed by the county directors of education in 19 counties. The government remains focused on complete suppression and neutralization of terrorism, banditry, livestock rustling, and other organized criminal activities as a sure way of turning around the national security and putting Kenya on a firm path to equitable development and shared prosperity. Equipment and kitting of frontline officers currently deployed in forward operating bases in North Eastern Region, the Boni Enclave, Upper Eastern Region, and North Rift Valley remains a key deliverable priority for Kenya Kwanza administration. The government has in the last 6 months invested 7.6 billion Kenyan shillings and will spend another 29.4 billion Kenyan shillings in the next 3 years under the Police Equipment Modernization Program to acquire sophisticated, protected and mobility equipment, including armored personnel carriers and mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles, armored unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, gunship helicopters, minesweepers, and personal protection equipment to support the sacrificial and patriotic work of the frontline officers.
Mola akujalie heri na akuepushie shari siku zote, ukihudumia taifa na ukituongoza. Akujalie Mungu, akujalie nguvu alizomjalia Samsoni, na vile vile hekima.
The Honorable CS, I just want to say that under your leadership, we began a very ambitious program, which includes the modernization of the police service. And what you are handing over today is just the beginning of that bigger plan. And the plan goes beyond the police equipment modernization. There is the entire reforms that we will be undertaking following the receipt of the report from the task force that His Excellency the President set up. And I want to appreciate the good working relationship that I have had with the IG and his team. And every so often, whenever there is need for us to sit, whenever there is need for us to consult, whenever there is need for us to even get approvals for officers to go out there and inspect some of this equipment. We've been able to do this collectively. And as we walk on this journey, I want to give you my assurance that we will do it with the utmost dedication, and because we care about the officers who sacrifice so much for the safety of this country.
Kwa hivyo nawashukuru, nawatakia kila laheri. Nitakuja siku ingine wakati tutakuwa na vifaa zaidi, na mimi nataka nitangazie wale wakora ambao wamekuwa na kiburi, ujeuri na madharau. Nataka niwatangazie siku zao zimehesabiwa. Their days are numbered. We will fight them on land and from the air. We will strike them from the ground and from the sky. We will pursue them in the deserts of Kenya, on sand, in the forest, valleys, gorges, caves. We have to terminate this rubbish. Hatuwezi kukubali nchi yetu iwe ni nchi ati kuna kona fulani wakora wameingia msituni ama wameingia katika pango na wanaumiza wananchi wakiwa pale. So we'll gazette new areas, and we are going to come down heavily and painfully on all organized crimes that are terrorizing the people of Kenya.
Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. On that note, let us take our very first break. We'll be right back.
Would you rather know the date of your death? Oh!
The bad one.
Would you rather know the date of your death or cause of your death? Jesus!
Hauna sura lakini you are smart.
You are smart.
Ukiongea watu wanakimbia.
Hata watu wengi smart wananga sura.
I don't know why. I think maybe kwa shule they concentrate in reading. Na hao wengine shule wana kila saa ni mirror tu kujiangalia.
Nimezaliwa kutoka Korokocho. Nimelelewa Korokocho kwa environment yenye I know watu wenye wanatoka Korokocho wanaelewa lenye iko. Na I grow there, nimepata watoto wangu hapo. Kuna watoto 3. Sasa kazi ya mjei, mnaenda mnabesho mawe, mna nini. So nilikuwa nakaa nasema, kwani hii kazi hawa wanaume wanafanya ya kuweka milango, kupanda boti, kwani mimi siwezi ifanya? Nilikuwa naishi.
There's nothing that can happen to a man, not unless God allows it to happen.
Do according to him, and he shall love you. He shall love them, and he shall take care of them. Till the end of time.
Invite someone to come to your house. One of the things that they cannot forget is the phone charge.
When it comes to relationships and probably communication, that distance is not a barrier.
Yeah.
But it is in communication, in effective communication.
So have you told your daughter how they acquire HIV and AIDS? When I go to speak in school, they will tell me, ukimwi ni mnyama mbaya. And no, sio mnyama. They have to know how it happens.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back. You're still watching GBS News 9. In its commitment to increase internet connectivity across the country, the government has unveiled plans to bridge the digital divide by linking a staggering 8.4 million homes to the internet. Leveraging on the already existing Kenya Power's infrastructure, the ambitious project aims to transform households into hubs of digital opportunity by 2027. Speaking during the annual National Public Key Infrastructure Forum 2024, Telecommunications Principal Secretary Edward Kisiangani stated that the project will help connect more Kenyans to internet access through a government-to-government agreement with the power utility firm. Here is more on the same.
The government now targets to link 8.4 million homes to internet access by pushing fiber optic cables through Kenya power lines by 2027. According to Edward Kisiangani, the Broadcasting and Telecommunications Principal Secretary, the government will take the fiber optic cables to rural areas using the existing Kenya Power infrastructure.
Kenya Power already knows where those homes are. So we can achieve our objective, not just about kilometers, but about homes. And our strategy is that if we work the way we have started, and the chair is here, CA is the one giving that money. We have already appropriated 10 billion shillings from the USF fund to help us move, because I know you will ask about the money, and make sure that Kenya Power is a G2G. Kenya Power takes the fiber optic cable into homes.
Estimated to cost 10 billion Kenyan shillings from the Universal Service Fund, PS Kisiangani stated that the project will help connect more Kenyans to internet access through a government-to-government agreement with the power utility firm. The USF was set up in 2009 when the government began collecting levies from telecom operators to facilitate ICT connectivity in both unserved and underserved areas across the country. The fund, managed by the Universal Service Advisory Council under the Communications Authority of Kenya, has seen the CK roll out ICT projects in areas that previously could not access these services. Hilary Kabila, GBS News.
President William Ruto has assured Kenyans that the government will make subsidized fertilizer available before the next planting season. He allayed fears of a crisis in the agricultural sector due to the high demand for the subsidized fertilizer ahead of planting season beginning later this month. Speaking at the Masinde Muliro University during the Kakamega County International Investment Conference, President Ruto said everything was being done to ensure fertilizer is available to farmers ahead of the next planting season. Meanwhile, the president pledged to turn around the sugar industry, which is saddled with the corruption and poor management. The president assured residents of Western Kenya that proper mechanisms will be put in place to reform the sugar industry. On devolution, he said that the level of governance has transformed the lives of millions of Kenyans, especially in the rural areas. He regretted that Africa is importing food worth billions of dollars, yet these can be produced locally.
Is thankfully opening up counties as the new frontier for investments and development. I couldn't concur more with the spirit and the letter of this initiative. Your Excellency, it is true that it is one of the most and effective way of animating the Kenya Kwanza bottom-up economic transformation agenda to have these investments and systematic expansion and devolution of economic activities that then bring economic exclusivity. I therefore laud Kakamega County and the governor for recognizing that Kenya offers by far the most desirable gateway to Africa. You have made the right move to position yourself to harness the unique economic prospects available within this region.
On matters natural resources, we have gold deposits worth 500 billion Kenya shillings here in Kakamega. And when I talk about that, I can see most investors smiling. That is an opportunity that we can partner with you so that we can unlock a potential which has not been exploited. I want to invite our investors to complement the affordable program of housing for the national government so that Kakamega, having a population of 2.5 million people, already we have a ready market.
We must have targeted skilling and tooling. Diversify. I repeat, we must diversify. Listening to the presentation by the American ambassador, there's a very strong message of diversification in that message.
The fertilizer subsidy program is on course. We've had challenges because of intermittent supply. Fertilizer we were expecting early this month will be arriving, I think, by the 10th of April because of the challenges we have in the Red Sea. But we have looked for alternative sources of fertilizer. And I want to assure the farmers in Kenya that government of Kenya will make sure the Ministry of Agriculture is working round the clock to make sure that every farmer gets the requisite fertilizer before the season is over. So every farmer, we will enhance the supply of fertilizer because we believe that will enhance our productivity across all crops that we are growing this season. And alongside that, we are also going to make sure that those who sell fake seeds or fake fertilizer face the music that they deserve. Just today, we have arrested some of the characters who want to take advantage of our fertilizer supply program. And we have already many more who are already facing court because we must eliminate corruption. We must deal with those who want to sabotage our fertilizer program firmly, effectively, and conclusively.
A non-government organization, Stawisha Africa Initiative, has launched a digital literacy program targeting teen mothers in Siaya. According to the Executive Director for Stawisha Africa Initiative, Dan Odur, the initiative aims at empowering the young mothers to exploit opportunities within the digital space. Speaking during the launch of the program at Ngia in Siaya County, Odur said that through the digital literacy project, the NGO will strive to bridge the gap in digital literacy space, especially for the young women, with the focus being the teen mothers, who are considered as the underprivileged persons in society. Ajira Digital Program official Beatrice Ottawa said that the project targets to train at least 70% of young women across the country who will then be linked with jobs once they have finished the training. The Assistant Chief, Murinya Sub-Location, Mrs. Grace Otieno, commended the program, noting that it will change the young women's socio-economic standards. The first cohort of the Stawisha Africa's digital literacy program, led by Ivy Awar and Audrey Muhonja, expressed their heartfelt gratitude to the organization, noting that this will tremendously impact their lives.
My name is Dan Joshua Odur, founder and director, Stawisha Africa Initiative. Stawisha is an NGO based in Ngia, Siaya County. We are working with young people and their families to be able to change the narrative from being victims to victors. Today, we are launching a new project within our programs. It is called Digital Literacy Project. This is looking to bridge the gap in the digital literacy space, especially for young women. We will be engaging boys at a later date, but then the center of focus right now are teenage mothers who, by all standards, are considered as underprivileged members of this community, especially given the fact that for a reason or the other, they became pregnant. So
the young men. So for the young women, they're left behind doing the house chores, doing other businesses. So it's even as we're doing the women empowerment, and this being Women's Month, so we find it very easy to just collaborate with organizations that deal with young women so that we're able to come into their spaces and empower them. After the trainings, which are free, and mentorship, we have job linkages. We link them with different partners that we work with, and they're also able to work remotely. Apart from that,
unabidi una hustle ndio upate pesa, vile unaweza baia mtoi manguo,
pia wewe ubai vitu zako, kitu kama hiyo sasa.
Kwa majina naitwa Mhonja Audrey, natoka Stawisha Safe Place, na nashukuru organization zote ambazo zimetuwezesha kufika hapa siku ya leo, na pia tumeshukuru kwa usaidizi wote ambao tumeweza kupewa, na tumeweza kunufaika sana. Pia tumeweza kufika pahali ambapo tulikuwa tunatarajia kufika.
And now to international news. In the heart of Congo's economic capital, a cultural revolution has been underway with an of creative spearheading a renaissance of African storytelling, aiming to revive an ancient art form that was once losing ground. A new chapter in Congolese storytelling unfolded with the establishment of a research center as trained and equipped storytellers breathe life into narratives through a blend of words, body language, and musicality. Here are the details.
As the world celebrated International Storytelling Day on March 20th, a new generation of Congolese storytellers was already in battle to perpetuate the African art of oratory, with this year's theme, Building Bridges, resonating deeply as the storytellers aim to bridge gaps between generations and cultures.
I chose the art of storytelling to talk about what we can contribute to society. Storytelling isn't just about words. It is also about the body, expression, and the musicality of the text, which is what carries the audience along. We can count on trainers like Joras Mabiala to perpetuate storytelling in Congo.
For Congo, International Storytelling Day is not only a time of celebration, but also a moment of reflection. It also serves as an opportunity to explore avenues for exporting Congolese storytelling beyond borders, enabling artists to learn a livelihood from their craft.
For me, storytelling awakens you. You see your mistakes, you see your advantages, you see many things, you see your destination.
And I kind of talked about that a bit in the story that I told on stage, that they connect us to our memories, our ancestry, and they guide us. You know, they teach us on how to live, how to be good people, how to interact with other people, how to interact with the environment. How do we do any of these things? Stories are the ones that give us the guide, that anchor us.
Moreover, it's a chance for the young to share their stories with the old, ensuring that the rich tapestry of Congolese narratives is passed down to posterity. As the curtains drew on the International Storytelling Day, Congo stood poised at the precipice of the storytelling renaissance, with their creativity and their compass, through the storytellers ready to chart new narratives and weave bridges of connection that transcended borders and generations.
What we lacked was a laboratory. So my brothers and I set up the resource center to make it a laboratory for oralité here in Congo, since at the time my father already had an audience who came to hear his stories.
Voilà d'où est partie l'idée du centre de ressources.
Ils sont 16 en voûte.
Ils traversent de bout en bout.
Jennifer Macau, GBS News.
Many thanks for joining this live broadcast. We have a lot lined up for you in our news segment tonight, but first let us take a quick commercial break.
What has fitness to do with health?
So it's a lifestyle. They are lifestyle diseases because we change from where we used to be, from a place where you're not able to afford these things. But now because you can afford, you do, thinking it's the best way to go about it.
It's very unfortunate that these things come to you when you are 45.
Yeah. And that's why you find even young people nowadays, we're losing very young people, treat people to blood pressure. It's not a weight issue. Their cardio health is at risk because they're not active.
I know you know very well. I just don't know why you don't do this.
When you exercise, you release some good some feel-good hormones. You feel amazing. You feel like you can conquer the world.
This is the underrated solution for all sicknesses and all diseases that you may have to fight in this world.
It has been a life full of tears.
Tulikuwa tunajua tako nyako. Tukateseka na mama.
Pain, agony and desperation, with the slightest bit of hope almost gone.
Sina baba wala mama na sina mtu wa kunisaidia. Ninapitia maisha magumu sana.
But with a tender touch from a few who care and beckoned a smile to wipe away our tears, our faces are now lit up in ever-blazing hope. As we join hearts and delight together with all of you for reminding us that God cares.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Let's go to South Sudan, a nation preparing for its general elections scheduled to be held on the 9th of July. Their first since independence, supported by the United Nations mission in the nation and team of South Sudan People Defense Force, Justice Directorate concluded in Mardi to assess pending cases at the Army Division 6. Their work aims to enable the prosecution of members of the armed forces who are suspected of having committed serious crimes, including sexual and other forms of gender-based violence, through other civil society.
The assessment will help to promote rule of law, to bring justice to victims and hold accountable SSPDF members. The assessment will also contribute to the peace process in South Sudan.
Right? So the clear
Concerning the escalating tensions between Russia and Ukraine, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin delivered a strong message at the 20th Ukraine Defense Contact Group meeting and in Germany on Tuesday, criticizing Russia's military spending and commitment to aggression against Ukraine, through Austin calling on allies to increase funding for Kyiv. Here is the full report.
It was not elections in Russia, it was like self-reappointment of dictator on the position, and we will never recognize these elections. It was fake elections on the occupied territories, it was fake elections in the many regions of Ukraine. We have seen many bad practices of these, I would say, elections. And I believe that all civilized countries will never recognize these elections results.
Austin reiterated the U.S. commitment to providing Ukraine with more military aid, underlining that it was an investment in shared security, not just for Europe, but also for the global stability.
Our aim is to help Ukraine build a combat-credible force for the long haul. The capability coalitions will let Ukraine's friends coordinate our support for years to come. And they create a coherent, nimble, and sustained approach to Ukraine's long-term security. The United States stands by Ukraine because it's the right thing to do and because America cares when freedom is at risk. But we also stand by Ukraine because it's crucial to our own security. The United States would face grave new perils in a world where aggression and autocracy are on the march, and where tyrants are emboldened, and where dictators think that they can wipe a democracy off the map. So when we invest in Ukraine's security, we invest in our own security.
The Ukraine Defense Contact Group, consisting of 54 countries, confirmed their dedication to supporting Ukraine military in its ongoing conflict with Russia. However, Moscow was yet to respond to Austin's claim about the military spending, accusing Kyiv allies of exacerbating the conflict, asserting that delivering the weaponry would only prolong the fighting without altering the outcome.
We don't have all types of weapons that Ukraine may need, but we can support you in different coalitions with others. That's why we, together with our Benelux partners, join the Czech initiative to buy ammunition that Ukraine needs. That's why we are leading an IT coalition to support the Ukrainian armed forces in building the necessary resilience when it comes to cyber attacks and similar IT issues. Last year, we spent 16% of our defense budget to support Ukraine, and this will go on.
But for right now, we're focused on making sure that we can get Ukraine the security assistance that it needs to be successful today and in the near and midterm. So.
The Prime Minister of Luxembourg, Luc Frieden, also reiterated his country's support for Kyiv during a joint press conference with the Ukrainian counterparts, Denis Shimal, on Tuesday, mentioning that Kyiv was fighting for the principles and values that the Luxembourg stood for, further declaring that if Russia wins the conflict, it will not stop in the eastern provinces of Ukraine.
We are on the side of Ukraine. You are not alone in this. You and your people have to fight for this, but we know that your fight is also our fight. Provinces of Ukraine.
As the situation continues to escalate and tensions between Russia and Ukraine remain high, the international community now watches closely as its efforts to support Ukraine intensify amidst the fears of further aggression from Moscow. Jennifer Macau, GBS News.
The Security Council Committee, established under Resolution 1591 on Sudan, issued a stark warning on March 19th to warring parties involved in conflict, with the committee chair, Korean Ambassador Jun Kuk-Hwang, stressing that those who committed violations of international humanitarian law could face targeted sanctions. Here is more on the same.
Presenting the committee's findings, Ambassador Wang highlighted the alarming increase in violence against civilians, particularly in the widespread cases of sexual and gender-based violence in Darfur, notably in the West Darfur, underscoring the violations of the arms embargo, breaching of international humanitarian and the human rights law, and ethnically based recruitment by the warring factions.
In both the final and the quarterly reports, the panel updated the committee on increasing violence against civilians, including widespread cases of sexual and gender-based violence in the conflict across Darfur, particularly in the West Darfur. The panel reported on violations of the arms embargo, violations of international humanitarian and human rights law, ethnically based recruitment by the warring parties, complex financing schemes established by armed groups active in Darfur.
Ambassador Wang also reiterated the obligation of both parties and member states to comply with the arms embargo measures, reminding them of the grave consequences of facilitating the arms transfers into Darfur.
The committee reminded the parties that those who commit violations of international humanitarian law and other atrocities may be subject to targeted sanctions measures in accordance with paragraph 3C of Resolution 1591. The committee also reminded the parties and member states who facilitate the transfers of arms and military material to Darfur of their obligations to comply with the arms embargo measures.
The United States Ambassador, Robert Wood, expressed deep concern over the blatant violations of the UN arms embargo, particularly the influx of weapons into Darfur from neighboring countries, such as the Eastern Chad, Libya, and the Central African Republic.
We remain concerned by reporting of blatant violations of the UN arms embargo, particularly the scale and frequency of the transit of weapons into Darfur from Eastern Chad, Libya, and the Central African Republic. We are committed to sharing information on such transfers with the CAR and Sudan panels and urge other member states to facilitate UN sanctions panels carrying out their mandates. We call on all member states and warring parties to fully comply with the arms embargo measures. External parties that provide material support to the warring parties in violation of the arms embargo are complicit in the loss of thousands of lives and the devastation of countless more.
Responding to the international calls, Sudanese representative Ammar Mohamed Mahamoud pleaded for the cessation of the sanctions, arguing that lifting them would enable the Sudanese government to better protect the civilians and empower the Sudanese armed forces to effectively confront and halt the atrocities committed by militias, particularly the Rapid Support Forces.
نفتقر نحن لكل سوداني وسودانية كبارا وصغارا شيبا وشبابا.
As the situation in Sudan remains tense, the Security Council now weighs its response to the violations of the international law and the continued flow of arms into the conflict zone. Jennifer Macau, GBS News.
Thank you, Jennifer Macau, for that detailed report. Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. That international news brings us to our sports news. Let's get sporty. Twenty-nine participants achieved a significant milestone by earning their CAF D certificate in Langata on Wednesday, March 20th. Most notable are two football players, AFC Leopards Kevin Kimani and former Posta Rangers Dyson Cargo, highlighting the growing importance of planning for life beyond the pitch. Professional football players' career lasts a few years, making it important for football players to consider their post-football futures. This aligns perfectly with the Football Kenya Federation's mission to establish a clear pathway for players to transition into other roles within the football and, in this case, a coaching career. This not only allows them to stay connected to the sport they love, but also contribute to nurturing the next generation of football talent within the country. Kevin Kimani, currently a FC Leopards player, bears ambition to coach at the highest levels after retirement. Another player that just completed the class was former Posta Rangers player Dyson Cargo, who has just retired from professional football and looks to give back to his community through football, starting CAF D coaching course, ran for 10 days and was under the tutelage of coach Matthew Sam.
Well, this is my pathway to my next level of retirement. I think this is the basis of modernized coaching, you know, and I'm so happy to have such a platform because I'm planning to retire soon. So I had a plan that before I retire, maybe I start doing something so that when I retire, I just integrate into coaching. So for me, it's all about the love of the game, and also coming from a place whereby we didn't have qualified coaches. And through the help of our federation and also our able coaches, we are able to get something that most of the people are not privileged to. So I'm really happy for this platform and also for the opportunity.
There's life after football, and being an active player for the past 16 season, I thought it is wise for me to get a coaching certificate to be able to mentor the young players back at my hood and pass the baton to the next generation.
Today we are happy. It's a closing ceremony for the CAFD coaching course we've had for the last 10 days. So this year, this was our first course. We've learned a number of them. We are doing this one CAFD. We have so many teams. Each and every year we get new teams that we enroll in our leagues. So the only way we can add value is train more coaches to handle them. Many teams are emerging. From what we've been doing, we've started the Nairobi Elite Youth League.
The Kenya Under-20 national team intensified their preparation ahead of the Four Nations tournament set to take place in Malawi. The tournament will now consist of two other teams, Zimbabwe and Malawi, owing to the withdrawal of Zambia. Kicking off their campaign, Rising Stars are set to clash with Zimbabwe in their first match on Friday, and their second match will feature Malawi on Sunday at the Bingu National Stadium. This tournament holds a significance as it aims to develop and expose elite youth talent, while also serving as preparation for the upcoming 2024 AFCON Under-20 qualifiers later this year. Professional squad include goalkeepers Ibrahim Manzala of Kakamega Homeboys, Junior Thiambo Migori Youth, Joshua Kea Rainbow, Kevin Alois Mathara United, Isa Emuria Ulinzi Stars, defenders Nesta Ulum AFC Leopards, Sigmund Maina Kariobangi Sharks, Junior Masinza Kakamega Homeboys, Baron Ochieng Sofapaka, Francis Kamau Bidco United, Fidel Otieno Mathara United, Paul Ochoga Gor Mahia, among others. Midfielders among others include Linus Munyao Rainbow, Hamisi Otieno Homa Bay, Lucas Maina Ulinzi Stars, Bernardo Uma Nairobi United FC, Rayan Wesley Rainbow. Forwards are Delphine Omuri Shabana, Hassan Beja AFC Leopards, Brian Boyer Bidco United, Adrian Olo Nairobi United, Umar Rajab Apollonia FC, Oliver Machaka Kakamega Homeboys, among others.
U21s or U20s or U19s play the day before or the day after. And we want to adopt this format because we are very serious about development. We also now have a ministry that's serious about developing. I think that we have been wanting to do this, or we couldn't do it before because we didn't have the right investment. I think that now with the cooperation we have between ourselves and the ministry, this is possible. When you look on this pitch now, there are about 60 boys in the development pipeline, 60, who all can play for Harambee Stars.
And watch two full-fledged youth teams pretty much aging towards the end of the development pipeline. The under-19, a team that we have watched right from the school ball games. We have watched through the Sekafa under-18. We have watched them through the Talanta Hela Inter-County competition. Now they are gelling into a competitive national team. It's really exciting. It's like planting a fruit tree and starting to see the fruits bud.
The world #1 Scotty Scheffler overcame a neck injury and record 5-shot deficit in a final round to become the first man to defend the Players' Championship. He is the youngest player at the age of 27 to win 2 titles. His 8th PGA Tour victory, which followed last week's win at the Arnold Palmer Invitation, is all the more remarkable considering the pain he was in during the Friday's second round when he tweaked his neck while playing a shot. Scotty Scheffler became the first back-to-back Players winner in the 50th edition of the 5th Major at TPC Sawgrass. Scheffler, who had treatment on his neck during the round 2, hit an 8 under 64 to win the 50th staging of the PGA Tour flagship tournament. He won by 1 shot on 20 under from fellow Americans. A chip in eagle 2 in the par 4 sparked the comeback and Scheffler followed with the birdies in 5 holes. Scheffler posted birdies on the 11th, 12th, and 16th holes. Scheffler earned his historic victory with a stunning bogey-free final round as he matched the record comeback wins. Scheffler became the first player to successfully defend his Players' Championship title. And that sports news brings us to the end of our news segment tonight. Many thanks for joining the broadcast. And as always, here at GBS News at 9, we make your news our business. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathenge. Good night.
Everywhere, GBS.